another episode of Nintendo Talk. This is another special episode, and this one's even more special. We have the amazing Mr. Antonio Guillen, Hypercast. You're also Nintendo. What? Tell me everything you're doing right now. Let's jump.
Glad to be here, Bobby. I rebranded recently, not too recently, a couple months ago, but it's at Hypecaster, and I'm doing Hypecast Gaming.
Okay.
So there's that, and then I'm writing and reviewing for the Nintendo Village.
That's what it is.
I had some personal issues or whatever, so I had to take a long hiatus. It's been like 6 to 8 months where I really was able to dive in, but just recently I'm doing a lot of stuff. New podcast coming soon.
That's
Everybody's got one.
This is true. Some people have like 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some of us are idiots and just live around podcasts.
I was listening to when you were talking to Joe about like missing Planet Nintendo or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you not busy enough? Like I was looking at all your recent videos. It's like bam, bam, bam.
Listen, okay. Let's be honest, because Pat will probably never watch this episode, because he really doesn't like my content, and he lies and tells people he does. But the truth is, I don't care about going back to Planet Nintendo. I just did that to make Pat feel better. I could care less if you ever go back to Planet.
There we go, calling him out. I'll be telling the truth.
No, I'm just kidding. This
is gonna be great.
This will be fun. So for those that don't know, there was a very brief stint where Antonio and I did a collaboration. It was a show called The Hosts. And that really, I'll be honest with you, that kick-started a lot of what I do now in terms of the qualities and stuff. People that are watching this right now, you see the quality in cameras that both Antonio and I have. When I first started, I was using an Apple computer as my webcam, and it was not good, but I thought it was the best. And then we're doing The Host, and I'm looking over, and I'm like, dude, why does Antonio look so crisp? And I was like, after the show gets done, I message you, and you're like, oh, I'm using a Logitech. I think at the time you're using the C920. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to buy the C920 too. I got to go better than him. And but if you ever watch anything that Antonio does, he is pure perfection when it comes to the quality, man. The quality of his content is grade A all the way. So I can thank you for that, because that was something that you gave me,
man,
but I don't even know.
It.
Yeah, no. And,
I'm a little bloomy today. I'm in a new space, so I gotta get everything all set. But you're right. I mean, certain people you really like shoot for that. You know, you want to have the best content and also the best quality, and everybody's out there trying their best. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
upgrade when you can, kids.
That's
Don't
the thing.
Yeah.
Or you hook up with Sean Capri and you start a Patreon, and then you start using everything you get to upgrade.
That cash in, man.
Honestly, that's what I did during Make Us Better. When we started Make Us Better, I was just upgrading all my equipment. Like every time we got money, like once a month, I was buying new monitors and new webcams and everything. Like I always take my money that I make and just dump it back into equipment, because I just want, like, dude, the lights, the Philips Hues. Oh my God, dude, the money I've dropped in those things. Like I should own stock in that company.
It's like $100 a bulb, right? Something like that.
Well, you figure,
70 to 100.
You figure right here in this room, in this space I have here, right? So let's look at this side. So this light and this light, that's $129 just for those two lights. Yeah. And then, so you figure I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh that's $1,000 right there. Just right there.
But it's worth it. Look at that.
That's
that
not even,
looks fantabulous.
That's not even including the spotlights on the ground down here. That was $400 for those.
Oh my God. There you go.
It's a sickness. So don't, for those who think like, oh, this is, I could just spend $50 and jump in. You can, yes, but you'll get addicted, and this is what it'll turn into.
Oh, yeah.
So, for those that haven't been paying attention or don't know exactly what we're doing here, I have taken it upon myself to try to do something a little different. And what I've been trying to do is bring on different guests every single day the week of E3. I started out last week just dropping a few different guests. I had Justin Masson, Josh Thomas, Joe After Work. And now, starting Monday, it's a deluge of every single day a different guest leading up to E3. And the idea is, what I want to do is I wanted to grab every single person that I could to come on, and we are going to listen to their E3 predictions for Nintendo, and then I'll offer commentary, and we'll just kind of debate some things and go back and forth on each thing. So with that, if you're ready, Antonio, we're going to jump in.
Oh, yeah.
So what is your first prediction for Nintendo?
So I'd like to make a statement if it pleases the court. Okay, I got to lay, because I asked, I was like, do you want realistic, grounded, this could happen, or pie in the sky, I wish, wildest dreams? Because I'm that type of guy. I want to half the fun of what we do is speculation and looking forward to what most likely would never happen. Yes. That's just period. Yeah. So I did, dial it back a little bit, try to get a little bit more realistic. The statement is this: I think that Nintendo's 2019 is pretty packed for the second half of the year. Yeah. It was a little dry in the front half, telling me that they are not going to want to steal too much more thunder. So I don't have a lot of predictions of anything that's going to be super new, because I think that's just going to take away from the excitement they're going to just generate about what we know is coming. Yeah. Pokemon is huge. You can't get more huge than Animal Crossing. You can't get more huge than the Fire Emblem series all together. I'd be super surprised if they tried to drop any type of bombshells. So that just needed to throw that out there.
Well, the thing too, and I think this is why I personally love Nintendo, they shock you all the time. They surprise you all the time. Mm-hmm. So if you're ever going to do some crazy pie-in-the-sky prediction, a Nintendo prediction show is the time to do it. Because you could go, I think Nintendo's going to do this, and they're just goofy enough to do something crazy like that. And that's what I love about them. Like, I remember when I was a kid playing the Super Nintendo, never in a million years did I ever believe that they would do a Mario Paint. Like, a mouse and a pad and, like, this whole thing. Like, whoever saw that coming? Nobody. So that's what I love about Nintendo, because they just come out of left field sometimes and just do some crazy... Like, whoever thought we were going to be playing with cardboard? You know what I mean? And they just did it, So that's what I like about them when it comes to predictions, because you can get a little crazy. And I think people don't go like, you're absolutely nuts. Because they sit there and go, oh, man, maybe it could. There's a possibility. So the other thing, too, I want to say is this. And I don't think I've told anybody this leading in. But my feeling on E3 for Nintendo is not just the day of their presser. You know what I mean? Nintendo spreads it, because we get news stuff during Treehouse. We'll get news stuff during the tournaments that they're doing. Like, they're notorious for doing stuff like that. They literally dropped Earthbound Beginnings during the Nintendo World Championships like 3 or 4 years ago on the Wii U. Well, more than that, maybe like 5 years ago now on the Wii U. So they're notorious for doing these weird drops. I think they announced Ryu during a direct 2 days before E3. So I'll give wiggle room on this, just so you know. Like, if you predict something that you think is going to be like in a different time setting, not exactly during that 30 to 45 minutes, whatever Nintendo dedicates, it's fine by me, because I think their whole week is basically E3 for them.
You're right. Like, I'll listen to your video about the Mario Maker 2 debacle with the online and not being able to play with friends. And for every Nintendo pulling a Nintendo like negative thing, they're gonna give you a motion control Wii Sports. They're gonna give you the out of left field thing. I mean, it's gonna happen. Yeah. For all this focus on quality of life and what we think is lacking in the Switch in particular, and what should happen, we're like, why aren't you thinking about this? Why aren't you thinking about it? Because for whatever reason, they're cooking up something that I give them a 75% of the chance is going to work. Yeah. Something quirky that's going to work, like an ARMS or a Splatoon and then ARMS, whatever. Yeah. So my first prediction, just getting right to it, is Nintendo, if they're going to hint at something new from one of their existing franchises, so a sequel. This is what I'm thinking. Okay. If they're going to hint at something big, what I hope is going to be, and what I think is pretty spot on for we're going to see some news from it. Okay. I got 2. I've gone back and forth about which one is going to be more likely, but I'm going to go with a Pikmin sequel being teased. The
Being
reasoning,
teased. Okay.
yeah, tease. You know, they're gonna, quick logo, whatever. Similar to like the Animal Crossing tease, where it's like coming next year, and that's all you're gonna need.
Okay.
It's not gonna be a fall release. It's not gonna be huge system seller, but people want it.
Yeah.
So because if you scroll through all the characters, what franchise has gotten a sequel lately? Who haven't we heard from?
Yeah.
Pikmin makes a lot of sense because going back to the stealing the thunder argument, it's such a unique game, such unique gameplay that it's not really going to steal the strategy, nuts, buffs from Fire Emblem. It's not going to take away from Pokemon. It's like, hey, it's the year of the niche. Yeah. Second half 2019, first half 2020. So that's my first prediction. And again, I think that now's the time to get quirky with it, and who knows what kind of new Switch implementation they could have. Yeah. Do you know if did they rumor or mention that HD Rumble's going away?
No. I've never heard that at all.
I heard that somewhere because I didn't come up with that.
No, I know a lot of people feel that way. Like they feel like when the Switch Mini, whenever that shows up, the HD Rumble will come out of it. I believe that the HD Rumble is part of the reason why the Pro controllers are so expensive, because of the rumbling in the 3 zones of, and the same thing with the Joy-Cons. Joy-Cons are $80, so it's crazy. They shouldn't be $80. You know what I mean? So I can see where Nintendo just puts a rumble in them and does away with the HD. It would make more sense. It'd be economically better. But I think listen. I think you're pretty spot on with the Pikmin 4 announcement. Pikmin 3 was a huge game on the Wii U. You didn't have a Wii U, correct?
No, did not jump in on the Wii.
You never
I bought the Wii twice.
Okay, but you never even bought a Wii ever.
No.
So on the Wii U, so then real quickly, side note. So you're not really one of those people that are upset with all the ports that are coming over, because for you it's like, hey, I get to play these games that I kind of missed out on, and you're kind of enjoying the whole ride. Where someone like me, I owned them all, and it's pick and choose. Although I've bought them all anyway, because I think they're all fantastic games. The games that are being ported. Pikmin 3 was such a fantastic game on the Wii U. It really, I think, turned a lot of people around on the series for a couple of reasons. One, Pikmin 1 and 2 were really hardcore, and they were pretty tough. Because here's the example. In Pikmin 1 and 2, you kind of had to work and get pieces to get off wherever you were, the planet you were. You had to rebuild your rocket ship to get away. If you missed one piece, you couldn't go back. You had to continue your journey, and then you were short and you couldn't get off the island. You have to start the game over. But the game wasn't super long. You could finish in about 45 minutes to a couple hours, depending on your time frame. Where 3 differed was they changed it up, where you just had as much time as you wanted to go explore this world, just as long as you didn't run out of fruit. Because the fruit you could turn into like juice, and that gave you your energy to survive a day. And every day you had to have 1 canister of fruit juice in order to make it through the day. And I think you could go like maybe 1 or 2 days without, and then you would basically die and the game would be over. So because of that change, though, it made it more inviting to a lot of people that struggle with Pikmin 1 and 2. So that being said, I think you're right with that. I think we're going to get Pikmin 4 announced. I definitely don't think it's a 2019 game at all. I think it's probably March,
That's exactly what I was thinking.
2020. I think Nintendo has this weird thing they have to accomplish. They failed last year. They failed this year. And that's the first half of a year. They're falling on their face. And they're not really putting out massive... They're putting games out, don't get me wrong. But they're not these games that are just like, wow, Where in year 1... they just floored us with the games that came out. And from now till the end of the year, there's some great games in there, but we had nothing early on that was just like, oh my God. they're really depending on the third party. And it's so weird because Sony got away with this for years and nobody ever said a word. They depended heavily on third parties until their first parties got up to speed. But people, some reason, just expect, I guess because of that first year and how well Nintendo handled it, they just expect every year to be that way now. I don't know, what's your feeling on how they're handling year to year?
So I am disappointed in the first half of this year for sure. I don't mind the ports. I welcome them.
Yeah.
I like when the Switch factor is still there for me. It hasn't like I have so much limited time gaming, and gaming in bed and just on the go is majority of my day. That's when I'm going to have my opportunities. So the Switch is just offering something that nobody else has.
Yeah.
So when Resident Evil 4 is coming, when all these ports are coming, I'm jumping on because that's what appeals to me. It's like, this is a quality game. I played it. Maybe it's one that I missed. Dragon's Dogma is something that I jumped into. It's just like, didn't play it before. It's a gem. Now it's mobile. Perfect. I'm expect more, demand more person.
Yeah.
I don't think I think it hurts us to be complacent and just buy everything that they're throwing at us. And the quality of life, you can go on for days about it, but basically, long story short, I wish that they would get more quality titles, first party spread out, or just get some like, wow, I can't believe this is running on the Switch, like a Doom or something like that, to fill in those gaps.
Yeah.
And I think Doom, I don't know how well received that was as far as, this works, but the quality was like not peaking. So I'm not sure. And that goes on to one of my other predictions.
Wolfenstein did very well. It looked fantastic. Hellblade really floored me. That game looked fantastic. I don't know if you played that at all. It was a really good game. So I'm curious to see what Doom Eternal, is that what it's called, I think? Doom Eternal or whatever?
The new one?
The new one, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that one will do, because that's coming day and date with the other ones. I think they're starting to close the gap a little bit. They are making me look at some of their games going like, how the heck is this even running on Switch?
Well, look at Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a very visually intensive game. Yeah. I know there's not a whole lot going on.
Yeah.
But what's there is running really smooth. So I think that was a huge get. Yeah. I think.
Yes,
I agree. And then going forward, I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah, I agree. What is your second prediction there, sir?
Well, related to all that, I want Apex Legends to come to the Switch. It's such a demanding, high competitive, every frame matters type game that's the downfall.
Yeah.
You don't really trust online capabilities of the Switch right now, do we? No.
Well,
I mean,
let's put a pin in that for 1 second. I don't think that the Switch has any issue playing games online. Their capabilities of what they offer are lacking in terms of voice chat and things of that nature. But how have you played much Fortnite at all on Switch?
I have played Fortnite on Switch, and it works out pretty well.
Yeah.
I'm not that competitive where I can notice if I was playing a drop frame here or there, or like the interaction between like the bullet and the time I pull the trigger, things like that. What I have, I'm going primarily based off Smash.
Okay.
And how if I'm hardwired to my router and other people are too, how it's just not up to snuff. You deal with it, but we know that's something with that code, or however you want to call it. I'm not a technical person. Something's off.
The difference between, just real quick, we'll get into this real quick. The difference between Smash and say like a Fortnite or a Mario Kart or something like that, because Mario Kart, Splatoon, Fortnite, no issues at all. Smash is trash all day long. And that is basically because they went peer-to-peer rather than to a server, where the latency is all dependent upon who the person you're connect to and fighting is. So if you and I are playing and we're in the same town, there's going to be no lag at all. As long as we have good internet, there'll be no lag. But if I'm playing like Justin Masson in England, forget about it. It's done. One of us is going to lag out, or both of us are going to lag out, and that's where the issues start. They messed that up. That definitely should have been server-based all day long. But I've heard though that that's how fighting games are. They go peer to peer rather. So that's neither here nor there.
I haven't heard much about Mortal Kombat's performance,
Yeah,
but Splatoon's never given me real
No.
problems. And I've played with multiple people spread out in a team,
Yeah.
in and out. I mean, that is such a smooth experience.
Yeah.
So I want to believe it's possible. And like I said, I've played Fortnite, I've played
Yeah.
Paladins, I've played
Okay.
all of these similar type games where it's a battle royale or a shooter, and it's worked out. No, wait, no, Paladins Realm Royale is the other one.
Yes.
But I mean, all of those games that I just mentioned, shooters on the Switch, I haven't had issues with. So if they could do it, there's a good potential to get there, because I think battle royales really speak to me in general and other people.
But let's say one thing. As I'm saying this, I totally recognize the difference between Apex and Fortnite are night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Fortnite, cartoony, it doesn't really matter if things don't, if a bush doesn't res in, who cares? Not a big deal. With Apex, something like that, and with Apex, precision's huge, frame rates matter, like you said. So, different ball games. It's so much so that with Fortnite, what they did was they separated everybody. You can still crossplay, but if I jump on and play by myself, it's Switch people I'm playing with and mobile people. If you're playing on Xbox and I duo with you, then it opens me up to everybody. And they've already said that if I'm running 30 frames and you're running 60, you have the advantage over me. And not only that, you got a much greater draw distance on an Xbox than I have on a Switch. So that's the main thing. So if people can get past the idea of this isn't the best performance, but I'm getting to be the ability to play Apex wherever I want to play it, it might work. But you've played Apex, I'm sure.
I played too much Apex.
Okay, so what's your thoughts on this, and why do you want to see it come to Switch?
I spent $70-something in cosmetics, like on their like crates and stuff. I had it in credit, but it was real money at one point.
Yeah,
and I dove in. The game is so addicting, and the fundamentals feel so great. It's a game where it keeps calling me back, and to me, in this day and age, even though there's plenty of good games, plenty of great games, addicting games are that's another level. That's where you're looking at your screen and all your apps and all the things, and it pulls me toward it, where it makes that choice way easier. And it has that perfect loop where you're in, you're out. Yep. I could play 1 match 3, and you're always getting, even in the first part of the game, which is the looting, picking up weapons, traversal, that part is 75% of the game. The combat and the rush of winning is much smaller. That's segmented. But that first half is just so addicting. Yeah. And again, obviously the action is great, but the first half is really what pulls me in. Again, I spent money on it. I spent time on it. I would love to have it mobile. Those just things coming together would be the perfect storm. And again, crazier things have happened. If you're saying like they pull something off, maybe dedicated servers, whatever you want to call it, who knows? And if they did, I think it would be a good get, because I think that Apex, as they start their second season, is going to be huge. Again, there's a lot of people playing that. They have a good community.
Well, here's the thing. Let's break this down for a second. Apex has been talked about. Basically, they came out and said, we're going mobile with this thing. So it's going to be on mobile devices. If it's on mobile, there's no reason why it can't run on a Switch.
I didn't even hear about the mobile confirmation. That's exciting. Yeah.
So they've already said that we're developing. It's going to be running on mobile. They didn't announce when. I think this is basically a Fortnite thing for them. Now, the initial rush of people playing Apex was huge, but it's fallen. It's not what it was at all. They need that bump.
Absolutely.
And I absolutely believe that putting it on Switch is similar to Fortnite, where it gives it that fresh life with all these people that haven't played it, haven't touched it. Because there's so many people, you know this, there's so many people that are Nintendo fans that don't own anything else. That's all they own is a Nintendo console, and that's it. Where if you can get this out to other people, it just makes sense. Now, Does Apex cost any money, or is it free to play and then it's all cosmetics and stuff?
Yeah, so it's free to start, which is it gave it its huge bump.
Yeah.
All the cosmetics are optional. It's not pay to win in any way.
Yeah.
But like you're right, they did not have constant updates, and they claimed that they wanted to spare their development teams, livelihood, and making sure they weren't burning them out. I think it was a convenient topic that came up at the time, which gave them an excuse to say, look, we weren't prepared for how well this did completely, and we do want to legitimately put a lot of work into that second season. They have detailed recently that the second season will offer more mini objectives, because right now you just play to earn up in the battle pass, unlock cosmetic items as you go, but it's really living longer in the match, killing people, and a few other things that earn the XP. Now they're going to have challenges.
Gotcha.
What they are, Fortnite-ish things going on.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what they're going to be, but it needed that. They're lucky that their fundamentals were so good, that the gameplay was so good, that it kept me and others on. But they're sorely in need of it. Yeah, I can't wait.
So let's just go through a couple of these. Realm Royale, I don't know how you feel about it. I don't think it's that good.
I like it. I mean, I got into it because Lucas Lore. Have you heard about the Xbox Drive? Podcast.
No, I don't know anything about it. Nothing.
So this guy was all about it, and I enjoyed it. It was like a more, I don't want to call it casual. It was just a different take. It brought some fresh ideas. Fortnite immediately adopted some of them. Yeah, and it was just like it was another entry in the market, and that developer who does Realm Royale and
Smite,
Paladins and Smite, I forget their name off the top of my head, but regardless, they make B+ games is what I want to call it, and I play them. Yeah, and they're decent. Most are again free to play, free to start, and they have the battle passes and things for each of their games.
For me, with Realm Royale, I just want to play with some friends, so I can be taught some, because that's how Fortnite worked for me. I played Fortnite on Xbox, and I was like, this game is stupid. Like, why am I playing this? And then when it hit Switch and everybody started playing it, I was like, okay, I'm going to try it again. And just playing with the community, they taught me so much that I fell in love. So I feel like it'd be the same thing with Realm Royale. Have you played Battlefields? I
was very high on Battlefield 5 when it came out, and the lack of content and updates was... I mean, don't get me started. They dropped the ball big on that, and when it finally came out, I watched streams of the Battle Royale mode, and it was lukewarm reception, and I was done. I traded the game. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to stick around for this, and it's unfortunate, but that fell through quite hard.
The thing I love about that, I love the fire.
It's beautiful.
It's a different take, but it's so cool. Yeah, like that fire just and then they have you could get into trucks and cars and tanks, and it's like they really did a good job. I like what they attempted to do. I don't know if they pulled off the delivery, but it's pretty cool.
Battlefield 1 was really great. I think that is a big rival to 5, with the settings and the visuals. Yeah. I actually went back to that recently. I played plenty of Battlefield 5. It just, again, it just speaks now to this day and age how you hold people's attention and what it takes.
Yes.
I mean, how long you want people to play this game.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. What is prediction number 3?
Let me go with something quick. And this is probably, there's not too much to discuss with it, but I would say... Okay, this may not be quick.
Okay, so for those that aren't watching the video, Antonio had this serious look on his face, looks at his list, and then gets this goofy grin on his face, and he's like, "Okay," like it was like, "Oh, something else hit me." So
if I don't say this, then I'll be upset at myself, even though it's ridiculous. Okay. Waluigi has his day. Oh, okay. No. Okay. Now every character in the Nintendo pantheon typically sticks to a particular type of game or genre. Except Mario, they let him branch out, right? And there's been mixing, obviously. That's a generalization. But what we lack is a straight beat 'em up. something simple where you're going to think Battletoads,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Think the
Okay.
old TMNT like
Yes.
arcade cabinet,
Yes.
and give Waluigi his day and put him in a beat 'em up. Wario can be the sidekick. Plot twist, and just let it be a button masher. If you think of what the amount of games that are action oriented that you can just hand like a kid or somebody,
Yeah.
you can get them into Smash. There are things you can do the settings and all that, but you're falling off that edge. I've
Yeah.
seen it. I've seen where you're just young enough where it's like, you have to hold the button and push. Not that they can't do it, but I'm just saying I think Nintendo has a gap in their lineup of a straight beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Look at strategy, I look at shooter, I
Yeah.
look at they've dabbled their toe in everything. I was really impressed with Mario Rabbids with strategy,
Yeah.
shooter. But I think that there's an opportunity there, and I wonder why they haven't straight gone there. I tried to think what was the equivalent or the closest to, and it seemed to be Smash. But they need something because, like I said, you keep going through the characters. Okay, Mario had his day in the sun. Now Zelda. Now we go Kirby, Yoshi. It's the same, the same, the same. At some point, I know they hate like creating a brand new character.
Yeah.
Very rare, a Splatoon or an ARMS. But Waluigi is there. Everyone's joked about how he's underutilized, but he's big enough, but he's just under there. As a sub thing, I would say like or Wario Woods or something like that, where Waluigi is also in it.
Yeah.
But again, put a spin on it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking
So
for.
basically, let's just open this up a little bit. You're just looking for a Waluigi game.
Why not?
You know what, man? I can't say that it wouldn't be kind of cool to have a Waluigi beat 'em up.
You know what's sad? Daisy will get a game before Waluigi gets a game.
This is true.
You know what I
This
mean?
is
They'll
true.
bring her back, reboot her,
Yeah.
give her something, just like I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because it just feels like a Nintendo thing. I don't know. Somebody has a grudge against them.
Could you imagine though? Seriously, let's just put a spin on this. I like the idea of a beat 'em up, but could you imagine if it was an all female cast like Rosalina, Daisy, Zelda, Peach, and like they're just gonna go through this town and just maybe Peach has decided she is gonna marry Mario and it's her bachelorette party and she's going through the town and she's just beating people up. Everybody that looks at her funny, she just starts wrecking them.
So they're drunk after.
Yeah, it's after
the bachelorette
it's
party, and
after
they
the
kind of
bachelor.
like lose it.
Yeah, they're staggering out the bar. They're going down the street.
Okay,
and
I get it.
They just start beating people up. You know what I mean? Like, makes sense to me. You know?
If this happens, this exact thing, somehow, some way, I'm gonna freak out.
Could you, dude? I'll be with you. I'll be
All three
screaming
heart
like
attacks.
I will call you during the stream. Be like, Antonio, we nailed it, man. Dude, it would be amazing. It would be amazing. That is the one thing truly that's the one thing that Nintendo doesn't have in its lineup is a beat 'em up, and I mean Capcom just put out or they're putting out the beat 'em up collection with all their final fights and all that
you're
stuff.
right.
Yeah.
It was old school though.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
all
they
old
didn't
school stuff.
really do too much
Yeah,
to.
nothing.
It's not like a remasters at all. It's
no.
kind of like an upgrade.
It's basically like the Street Fighter collection they did and all the Mega Man collections they did. They're basically grabbing all their collections and just milking that Nintendo Switch money the best they can. So I would love to see Nintendo kind of do their spin on a beat 'em up. It's a series, a genre they've never done. I can't think of one game that's a beat 'em up from Nintendo.
right.
So I wouldn't mind, and it would be to me. I mean, Wario, Waluigi doing that, it would make sense to some degree, and it would be so funny. Like even if they were like, maybe they just lose their jobs and they're like mall security, and this gang comes and it takes them all over, and they're just going through. Now we're just talking nonsense. This is if we ran Nintendo stuff now. So okay, what is prediction number 4?
Okay, so this one's a little more boring.
More
I
boring.
think because they don't want to, distract too much from anything game wise, and because of the rumors, I think we're seeing a new hardware release, the Switch Pro Plus Plus. It has to have the plus.
Of course it would have to. You're did you hear the stupid name that they gave for this disc for Pokemon?
Plus.
The
Yes.
plus. Like, what are you thinking, man?
Look, fool me once, right? You're gonna track my motion. Understood. Okay.
Yeah.
It could be integrated another way, but look, a dedicated peripheral just to track. Okay, fine. I'm gonna sell you another dedicated peripheral to track non-motion.
Yeah.
When you're not moving. Like, I'm gonna charge you. I was telling people, I'm gonna charge you for a coat because you're cold.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna charge you again when you take it off.
Yeah.
When you're warm, the same coat.
It's so dumb, man. It's so dumb.
Hey, I have another prediction about this. I think that the Joy-Cons are going away if you do a Switch Pro.
Okay.
For a few reasons. One, you can only sell so many, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the color variations. I honestly thought that they were going to go a little bit more crazy with it. It doesn't look like they are. For some reason, they held back. Maybe it was sales. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're not ergonomic. They're overpriced.
Yeah.
And I think HD Rumble is going away for other reasons.
I don't see. This is what I think. I do not think for a second that the Joy-Cons are going away. I think if they do a mini, the Joy-Cons will go away. But on a Pro, I think they'll double down. And what I believe Nintendo will do is they'll eliminate the HD Rumble. They'll just put a Rumble in there. And that IR sensor that's on the bottom of the left Joy-Con, I think they'll get rid of that because there's other than 1-2 switch, no need for it.
Right. Get that price down.
Get the price down to a more reasonable manufacturing thing. And then they can actually spend the money on the plastic to kind of form fit it a little bit so it feels more comfortable in your hands.
No, absolutely. I'll quick hit you with what I think it's going to have. It has to be more ergonomic.
Okay.
Everyone seems to have some type of, whether it's the nubs on the joysticks or the ergonomic handles or any combination of the two, being able to kind of widen your berth on it. There's so many out there. I have one. I have it over here. Let me pull it out really quick. So as long as it's a little thick. This
thing is amazing. Satisfy Grip is amazing.
I love it. I want that one. Yeah. So I have these, and these are swappable, so you can still change the colors. But it has to be thicker on this side, and then the control, like the top, again gives you a little bit more that second button.
Yes.
The ZR, ZL, all of that is truly important, and I really hope that they would. I agree with you. Yeah. A screen resolution bump.
Yep.
I'm surprised that with all the phones that we have out there and tablets we have out there, and basically this is it. This is our tablet is what it is. How is your screen that? Again, make other concessions and strip other things out and focus. When you broke down, I remember doing this later. We're like, how much is that second dock? How much are each individual Joy-Cons? And that leaves the screen. And when you did the math, you found that the screen was one of the cheapest parts in this bundle that they were selling you. Yeah. So they need to rework that and upgrade that screen. Yeah. The other thing that I was going to say is somehow, some way, they might put these features, if they can, behind this paywall of new hardware that we're sorely missing already. Yeah. And be like, hey, you're going to be able to do the chat. We're going to abandon the app. I know you hate it. Everybody hates it. And then one other thing would be the, I think that ideally, imagine Mixer integration on this thing. So you're on it, you have your headset, you plug it in, chat is enabled, so now we got better audio features here, and we got the one button streaming to Mixer. I don't know. I'm not saying it's completely possible because you don't have to have your little face in the corner. We've seen that. Yeah. But maybe people would like to do that, and you could talk and have your Nintendo game streamed. And yeah, of course, somehow, some way, you can integrate a camera. But that'd be crazy.
Seriously, if I could, I believe this is how simple it is, Antonio. I log into Mixer on my Switch, got the headset on, I'm plugged in. And my webcam turns on because that's hooked to the computer. I have a website that's hooked to, and I could basically go, okay, the computer is just handling strictly the camera that I want. And then the Switch is handling the game and sending the information to Mixer. Wow. And
does Nintendo want a piece of the streaming pie?
I believe they do. I know for a fact.
This is my thought.
I know for a fact, an absolute fact, that Nintendo has encouraged ambassadors to start streaming their stuff on Twitch. So there's obviously some connection there where they, I don't know whether they view YouTube as a true, piece of the puzzle. But I know for a fact that they have been telling people, hey, here's a game. Why don't you try streaming on Twitch for us? So it's a possibility. And with Microsoft and Nintendo kind of becoming buddy-buddy, I think you stating that Mixer being on the Switch is the first time I've heard it, and it makes sense. Like, this could be something else that Microsoft is working on with Nintendo to go, hey, we want to make it easy for people to stream to our device or just watch people via Mixer. Maybe not even streaming. Maybe just the ability to watch people. So it's possible, man. It's possible. This turned into a huge prediction. Essentially, you're predicting we're going to get an announcement for a Pro Switch. Plus. I'll be honest with you, I don't believe they are going to discuss hardware. What I think is going to happen, and this was, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because Roger's Base, I just had on I recorded a couple days ago with it, and he said in it, if you remember back, I think it was the 3DS, it was the 3DS, I think it was the DSi. Nintendo came out during that E3 and was like, we are not discussing any hardware. And there was a rumor of a new DS. Mm-hmm. And then 2 weeks later, they dropped a Direct, and there was a DSi. I believe that's something they will do. I really do. I think that they will do it. They will shadow drop it, and they'll go, it's going to launch in September. And we're going to have Animal Crossing launching in September. And we are going to have bundles. Special edition Animal Crossing Switches with these Pro models. Mm-hmm. I really believe that. You're kind of the computer savvy guy. Yeah. NVIDIA, anytime I talk to gamers, they rave about NVIDIA's, video cards and all that stuff. So Nintendo partnering with them is a fantastic thing. And what they've created with this Switch is fantastic. So I can see Nintendo and them definitely bump upgrades and stuff. But what you're saying to me, when I look at the Switch, everything you're saying just makes sense. Mm-hmm. If we can figure out a way, that dock is just trash.
I was just gonna tell you, something's got to happen with this dock.
Yeah,
it's not good.
No.
It keeps it upright. That's the only thing I'll say for it.
That's it.
I can never get it in right. I don't. It's not visually. I have stickers on mine. I have this Mario mushroom sticker. It's just something's got to happen with that, and it's got to be easier to attach to the. You can't. Something's wrong with the idea of the power source. You have to have the power source. You have to have the cords. There's way too much happening there in this day and age. Yeah. I can't just take this. I have to have a dedicated TV basically that I want the Switch on. That goes against the nature of what this thing is supposed to be. Now, so something has to happen there. I'm not sure what.
Did you see the little charging unit that came out? It's only about an inch or two apart, and it's a little U type thing. You drop the Switch in there, and it plugs a power cord in there. Why they didn't put an HDMI on that you could literally just take that and plug it in to the TV? Yeah. That to me makes the most sense of everything.
What do you know? What and I don't know this. When you cast something, if I have a video on my phone and I have a Chromecast, whatever you want to call it, and you hit that button. Do you know what the max resolution is that you're getting on the actual screen?
You mean when I send it from my iPhone to my Apple TV?
Yes,
I don't know what
I'll tell you right now, I don't notice it, and that seems like up Nintendo's alley.
Yeah.
Because I'll do it. People do sometimes do it for photos. Some people do it for YouTube, whatever you're gonna do. It's like I'm gonna hit the button, and via the Apple TV, Chromecast, all these dongles, little things.
Yeah.
Is all Nintendo would need is the little dongle working with the Switch, and then you plug the dongle in, and you just achieve the Switch. You still have to unplug it, but maybe they're cheap. Maybe you get people to buy 5 of them or 4.
Listen, let's put it this way. I have 3 docks in my house.
Whoa.
So if you're telling me that I could save $80 and buy these things for $30, I would literally...
It's Nintendo, they'll be $45 when every Chromecast is
I know.
$25, $30.
I would go through the house and I would literally buy one for every single TV in the house.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Because
if they came out.
Yeah, because I would just be like, this just makes sense.
I
and
need
it's so
it
easy.
on all these TVs, just in case.
Yeah, it makes us, like...
Yeah, but again, I don't know what the technology is. I mean, it has to be above 720.
It's got to be.
It's got to be.
Like, I never noticed a difference.
Maybe.
I have a 4K... No. I have a 4K TV in the living room, right? I have a 4K Apple TV that is hooked to that. So when I do my AirPlay to it, I never notice a difference. Never. It just works, and it looks beautiful. And so, I don't see why this would be an issue. It makes sense to me, right?
I'm looking. I love hardware. For all the Switch's downfalls, I love the Switch. And I'm ready for investing again. And the price point is decent.
Yeah.
Who knows what the next iteration would be? Probably be, what was it? What was the launch price of the Switch?
$300.
$300.
Yeah, $300.
And it hasn't dropped really
it hasn't dropped
too
at
much.
all.
You don't see it, so they'd keep it at $300. Yeah. Most likely.
But let's be fair. If they were to say I'll even go a step further, Antonio. If they were to say to me, here is the Switch, the tablet, and this is $300, and we've done all these upgrades to it. We've made it 1080. We've increased the bezel. We've done all these different things. You can use the same dock. You can use the same Joy-Cons, but you're just going to buy this piece for $300. It runs more powerful, runs faster.
That's a good idea, Bobby.
I would do it. I would pay.
It's already modular. You're right.
I would buy it in a minute. So, and then you go, hey, you don't have this extra stuff? Well, it's going to be $400 or whatever. Or you could just say the whole package is $300, but I could just buy the thing for $200 or $300. I wouldn't care at all.
See, that would be killer, wouldn't it? If you could get that unit, the upgraded unit down, where it's like, hey, $200 for the upgraded unit. You're like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? What's going to happen with quality of life on the Switch as far as folders, backgrounds, all these other little things that they're just not there, like the messaging that you were talking about? You can't I am a friend. Is that gonna come, or are we gonna go this whole Switch life cycle 5-6 years? Well, it'll last longer, but what's going on? Anyway,
I agree. Like,
I just don't understand. Or I had a feeling they were waiting. Waiting for what?
I don't know.
Or is it not? It's either they're waiting or it's not happening.
Well,
if it's not happening, surprising. If they're waiting, what are they waiting for?
I think the thing is this. Nintendo, I think they learned a valuable lesson with the Wii U. The Wii U was a slog fest. Like, it took forever to get into games. And I think ultimately what Nintendo did when they looked at the Switch, they said, we want people to play games like that. We want them to be in and out as quickly as possible. So they created the quickest, easiest way to do all this stuff. I think they're worried that if they add all this stuff to this version, it's going to slow it down. Now, I'm not saying it is or not.
Weird.
I think that what their mind's eye was, or maybe is, we're going to do an upgrade. It's obvious they're going to do upgrades. I mean, look how many 3DSs we got. Or you look at the original DS, then we got another DS,
the
DS
eyes,
Lite,
the
and
XLs,
then the I, the XLs.
XXL.
Yeah, all this stuff. 3DS, 3DS XL, 2DS XL. Like, it's just, we've had multiple iterations. They have a 20-year contract deal with NVIDIA. This thing is not going anywhere anytime soon. We might not be using this particular version or model, but the Switch is going nowhere. We're going to get new Switch, new Switch, new triple Switch, the Switch plus, whatever. We're going to be getting those models, I believe, for a good 10, 20 years, easily. So I think that they might have been looking at this going like, okay, look, We just need to come out the gate because they were hurting, and that's what people don't. We're 2 years in now, and the thing's a juggernaut, and people forget how bad it was before that Switch got launched. Like, people were, if you remember, I mean, we could just go back in time. Everybody was screaming, like, if they don't do this right, it's donezo. They are out the gates and over with. They're going third party, and that's it. They turned it around, and I think what they did was they go, these are the important things to us. Performance, gaming, that's it. Like, we need to come out the gates with strong games, a performance system, and then the rest, we'll figure it out along the way. And I think the problem is it works so well, and now everybody's ready to get all that stuff, and they're not ready yet because they're behind the ball.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. Who knows? But, okay. Final prediction. Hit us with something good. Come on.
I have one that it's not real. You want the realistic one or you want the pie in the sky one?
Give me both.
Okay. Thank you for this leeway, Your Honor. Pie in the sky. Mm-hmm. You look at the remakes. Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening surprised people, and it was welcome surprise. People were like, "Yes, on board." My dream remake, is a Yoshi's Island entry redone now. You don't have to, because in a way the resolution actually, if you go back, is not there.
Yeah.
But the art style, do another little fresh coat of paint on the art style. I love the mechanics of Yoshi's Island. I love that Yoshi was not relegated to these quirky, it was more mechanically sound and interesting, I thought, and challenging, and again, visually interesting than what he's been given recently. Yeah. I'm not a fan of the crafted or the yarn or all these things. I just feel like Yoshi deserves better, and that was his peak, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Could be wrong. Yeah. And in a similar vein, the last prediction, realistically, if you go again through the character roster, the next person up would be Donkey Kong. So a Donkey Kong Country entry. Could be a reboot, but it was so solid with Tropical Freeze. And again, that's one of the reasons why it may not happen. The port just kind of came.
Yeah.
But that platforming, that franchise is strong. It's solid. It's regarded well. So I think it's going to sell when it does come out. Mm-hmm. So to me, that seems like a safe bet. Again, unfortunately, Nintendo's doing the thing. You go up, you go down. We know we're not getting a Mario. We know we're not getting a Zelda. There's other news and other games in those areas. So DK is up, I think, soon. Maybe not this year. Maybe not the C3.
So, okay.
Bring Yoshi back.
Okay, so the Yoshi thing, I think...
They did them bogus. We have Kirby games for what... Yoshi and Kirby are doing the same things right now. You got to separate that. Let Kirby have that.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, let's start with the first thing. Yoshi's Island. I can't stand Baby Mario, man.
I loved it.
I hated that,
oh my
dude.
God,
I wanted to kill somebody every time that.
It was so tense.
Oh,
you gotta get the baby, Bobby.
Every time that stupid little thing started screaming, I wanted to just shoot myself. But that aside, I understand that game is cherished and beloved by so many people. It's not a bad idea, really. Mm-hmm. The one thing I will say is that if you if you are stuck with games, Woolly World was fantastic.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It was amazing. It was just enough difficulty that it was a little bit of a challenge. Most Yoshi games after Yoshi's Island were just simple. Just baby mode. You know what I mean? This one, basically, it was kind of easy, but also there were some tough levels. And if you wanted to complete it, it was hard. It had amazing amiibo functionality where you could scan an amiibo and Yoshi's yarn would turn into these characters. And looked so cool, man. It was just amazing. I'm with you on Crafted World. I think it's hot trash in the summer. I'm not a fan of it at all. I just couldn't even get through it. I stopped. I felt like I was playing the levels just to get through them. There was no replay value for me to play a level over and over again, where in Woolly World, I went back and I would play level over and over and over, trying to 100% the level. This one I had no desire. I'd just get through it and done.
Did Nintendo put that out to die in a way? Because of all the marketing, I remember Yoshi when the yarn was there, and I saw so many like ads or even on the internet. You don't think people were talking about that for a lot longer than Kraft did, is what I saw, and I don't understand why. Just to me, it seemed like it wasn't pushed as much. If you go on the featured page of the Switch right now, I want to say it's not there. I look at the store daily.
Yeah.
I look at every page of the store daily, but I want to say it's not there.
Possible.
Or I missed it.
Or you might just not care about it enough to notice it. You know
there we go.
Which is a possibility. But as far as Donkey Kong, I feel like we could get Donkey Kong Country Returns, which was actually on the Wii. So if they took that and they up-resed it to HD, that game was fantastic. That game was really good. And it wasn't as hard as Tropical Freeze. Tropical Freeze was balls hard, man. That game was tough. So I think, at least I believe, that if they were to create Donkey Kong Country Returns and put that on the Switch, I think a lot of people would enjoy it. I think it'd be a lot of fun because I think a lot of people missed it. But that being said, as much as I would like a third installment, Retro's not going to do it because they're on to Metroid, and I don't believe that they made the game already. I don't believe the game's done. I would like to think that they maybe had time to do levels. You know, maybe that's what they were working on at that time, although I don't think they were working on anything. That's another story for another time. But I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting. It's I don't know. It's that's a tough one. Although I think you're right. The only things I'll say is I believe there's a couple of games that might be up first, because I think what Nintendo needs to do is they need to create a buzz and a hype in year 4 or going into year 4, and that's, to me, if you come out with a new Punch-Out game.
I'd play Punch-Out.
Yeah, I would too. A new Kid Icarus game, a new F-Zero game.
Man, people love F-Zero.
So
everybody's taking their lunch on that one. I mean, there's so many clones. They're not great.
No, they're not great. But if they had one of those 3 games come out or get announced for 2020, just one of them, I think people would explode and get really hyped. But we'll see. It's still the jury's still out. It's hard to tell, but I think we'll definitely see a different. Here's the thing: Nintendo has announced that they're going to do 2019. They've basically pulled Pokemon out of the mix because Pokemon will get their own Direct on the 5th. They basically pulled Mario Maker out when they did their own Direct, and then they're having their own event the day, like a couple days before. So I think you might just get, oh, by the way, just a reminder, Mario Maker, the 28th of June, go get it, done, boom, out. You're not going to spend a lot of time on it. You'll probably see more time in the treehouse with it than just creating levels and playing it and such. So they've pulled 2 major games out of the mix. You have Astral Chain, you have Fire Emblem, you have Link's Awakening, you have Animal Crossing. Those 4 games are massive games.
Yep.
But I feel like that's not enough for Nintendo. As crazy as that sounds to say, I feel like that's not enough. You're gonna upset people if you just show those games. So my heart feels.
Oh yeah, absolutely. People will be let down.
Yeah, they'll be like, we already know this stuff. Yeah, like
what surprise do they have?
Yes, we know this stuff. You're going to show us all these 4 games. These 4 games I just said. You're going to show us all that during the treehouse. Fine. We don't need you to spend time on these 4 games. Show us new games. The other thing they don't typically do at E3 is show indie stuff. The indie stuff is never there. I think we could potentially see those 4 games that I just named, plus a couple of games that we don't know about, meaning maybe Punch Out or one of those other games, Pikmin 4, as you had said earlier in the show. So I think there's an opportunity here for Nintendo to just wow us and blow us away. I think that also by doing the Splatoon tournament days before, the Smash tournament days before, they kind of pull that stuff out too. I think it's a no-brainer that we get a new Smash character. And I think that could potentially get announced at, the event. It's interesting. It's really interesting.
Astral Chain looks good.
Astral Chain does look good. But one thing I want to ask you before we wrap up and we go, what's your feeling on DLC with the games that are existing? Are there any games that you feel that Nintendo could announce DLC for?
I was going to actually say that Splatoon 3 was going to come.
Okay.
Because I don't think they can get away with another DLC that they tried to do with the Octo.
Yeah, the Octo expansion.
They tried to do something meaty like that. Yeah. I think that if ARMS doesn't get a something, then I don't know if we're going to see an ARMS 2. I don't know how well it's sold. But I would go back to ARMS. ARMS feels like one of those games that had something solid, that if they tweaked it enough and did an update with a DLC that added another flavor to that. ARMS is fun. If you pick up ARMS right now, I think there was just no hook there.
Yeah.
To continue, and I think I want to love more ARMS. So I would say ARMS. I really I want Breath of the Wild. They say that they're done with it. Why? There's so much empty space in that game. It's a beautiful universe and world.
Yeah.
If they do a sequel-ish thing, or go more either a sequel, Breath of the Wild 2, like a same world, or a brand new, it's a new Zelda thing later, I'd be surprised. They should do more DLC with Zelda. They've only scratched the surface of what could be potential for that. And they're stingy with the Odyssey DLC. So
you look at a game like The Witcher 3, right? That's rumored to be hitting the Switch, right? It's like
don't tell me that.
It's rumored.
Serious?
Yeah, dude, it's been all over.
I just got into it.
How do you not even know?
I just got into it.
Dude,
I didn't know about that.
It's the worst kept secret.
I did not hear about that. Are you serious?
If you go on Facebook, how do you not see this?
Oh, good. I'm going to stop playing because I'm like 20 hours in right now. And it didn't click with me when it came out. I just gave it another chance and it clicked hard.
So the thing it is
wowzers.
When you look at a game like that, right, they dropped expansion after expansion after expansion on that. I don't see why Nintendo just doesn't go, that's our blueprint. We're going to throw 2 more expansions at Breath of the Wild. Big, meaty stories, go. Like
people would freak out.
What's that?
People would freak out.
Oh, they'd lose their minds. Are you kidding me?
Like you said you were done, but you're not done.
They do they do that all the time. They really do.
Man, that'd be cool.
The one thing I'll say with ARMS is I just feel like ARMS, it has the best online setup where it's the room and it rotates you around and you're fighting different people and it's different things. Best in all of online gaming. I love it. Secondly, I think they messed up where they treated it like Splatoon. They should have never done that. They should have said, here's the launch, here's all the characters, here's all the stages, go. And the other thing is they should have delayed it for at least 8 months and put it out in the beginning of 2018 when there was all that dead space and they weren't doing anything. Because to me, that would have been time, because they put out ARMS and then not even a month later, Splatoon 2 hit and ARMS died.
Yeah.
And that was a death
That's a good
wish.
point. Yeah.
So they should have kind of done something a little different. But that is all, sir. So, Antonio, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, Bobby.
This was a blast. This was a good one. Let everybody know real quickly where they can find you at and where they can follow you and all that good stuff.
Check out the Nintendo Village for, articles and reviews, and follow me on Twitter at Hypecaster, The Hypercast? Stay hype. Yeah, it's called Hypecast Gaming.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm gonna be like, welcome to the Hypecast. Yeah.
That's good stuff. You can follow me Instagram, Twitter at Nintendo Gurus. That is all.